Nature's Guardian returns.
Yep, that's right. He's back, and he is more cancer than ever. Because Ice Frog took some of that shit that you get in your spam email and injected it straight into this guy. And guess what? It worked. Now it's huge, and it fucks hard. But with some side effects. It's fine though, because I'm going to show you how to optimize this to turn your Dota match into a frontal lobotomy for 9 other people. First, pick Nature's Prophet. Select the Big Dick Treant facet, then type pick stuns in allied chat. And before you think that this is because Nature's Prophet lacks stun, no, you misunderstand. This hero has no inadequacies. It's actually because Nature's Prophet forces enemies to split up like they're your parents, and this is precisely where stunners come in and gank them. Start the game with this inventory. Spawn a tree from Fountain and send it to Scout where the enemies are to prevent your idiots from feeding First Blood at bounty runes. This thing is fast now, and it gives good vision, so make sure to send it on a fucking journey. In laning phase, block this camp, unblock this camp, and then hit this guy with your Treant. Once the enemy support realizes that your Treant is borderline immortal, then they will either A, die, or B, go to the other side of the lane. This is where you can beat the ass of the enemy core freely. Now, once your enemies start playing like the little bitches they are, stack the easy camp and pull it to cuck them even further in lane, or do a half pull if you're too lazy to stack. Congratulations, you won the laning phase. Now we get to the good part.
Yeah, boy.
Your skill build should look like this at level 6. Rush a Solar Crest. This is for your Giga Chad Treant, not for your virgin allies. Past 5 minutes, pay close attention to what lanes are pushing in on the map. Sometimes you can dive the enemy mid, sometimes it's the enemy safe lane. In either case, TP to the lane and pretend to gank them. If you get a kill, cool, your team is less likely to report you. But all of this is just a distraction so you can throw buffs on your Treant and take the tower. And here is where we will cover Tower Aggro for dummies, because dogshit Nature's Prophet players are only dogshit because they let the Treant die. And, to be fair, this is a very easy mistake to make because the Treant is reinforced, meaning it deals way more damage to towers, but it also takes way more damage from towers. As a side note, this also means that it takes 50% damage from heroes, and this is exactly why this fucker feels so immortal. Anyway, Tower Aggro in Dota is very complicated. But there is a catch-all that actually explains it in just one sentence. Towers are defensive. Let's break this down. When the current target of the tower dies, it selects a new target, choosing to attack defensively. First, the closest enemy attacking the tower, then second, the closest enemy attacking an ally. So, when the current target of the tower dies, if your Treant isn't attacking anything, it won't be hit. In other words, hold Alt to see what creep is being hit by the tower, and stop your Treant from attacking right before the tower aggro swaps. If and when you fuck up and the tower starts hitting your Treant, then simply click your Treant and attack click one of your allied creeps to reset the tower aggro. Don't ask me why this works, it's Dota. In a desperate situation where you would like to save your Treant, which is, by the way, worth it to do, you can abuse another defensive rule of the tower. If you attack an enemy hero within a 500 radius of the tower, it will automatically start attacking you. So, you can A-click a portrait at the top of the screen of an enemy hero that's showing in vision to intentionally tank the tower for your tree boy to hit freely. Okay, now that we've covered that, let's get back to being a malignant tumor in the game. Let's talk about split pushing. All of your item choices will be designed to buff your Treant, but also double for strong carry buffing items. After your solar, build an Aggs. This item is completely bonkers now that it hits all units, because it means you can push waves and still contribute to fights, but also for another secret special reason that we will talk about a little bit later. Since my last Nature's Prophet video, the map has changed. There are now portals that take you from one side to the other, and there are outposts on the side of the map that you can TP to. But also, there are wisdom runes that you can steal every 7 minutes, and great deep ward spots that you can put down better than any other hero in the game. So, the nature of split pushing has changed. Let's talk about it. Step 1. TP to a side lane without an enemy guy in it, spawn a Treant, buff that Treant, then slam him down on the ranged creep first, then the melee creep second. Step 2. Hide in the trees like a little cuck until either the next wave comes or an enemy comes. If an enemy comes, then TP to another lane and do the exact same thing. If, in any case, there is already an enemy in that lane you want to split push, then wait for the 30-second mark and intercept the creep wave closer to the enemy base. During this time, try to show your hero very infrequently. Just enough to be like, hey, I'm here, come get me, bitch, but not enough to feed relentlessly. At a certain point, this will become incredibly frustrating for the enemy team, and they will begin to desperately hunt you in the trees. This is space created, and when you get to the fun part of making the enemy team play a game of whack-a-mole instead of Dota. But there's something I haven't told you. Something that you were not yet powerful enough to know. But now you're old enough to understand. Here's a common opinion on Nature's Prophet, even among pro players. This hero destroys towers, but he has no good way of killing creeps. So, there's one big problem. Backdoor Protection. And you know what I think? People are wrong. Even the pro players. And what they're wrong about is thinking that you need to kill creeps. Because the goal is not to actually kill creeps. It's to get your creep wave here. So, let's move the goalpost then. First, TP in front of one of your creep waves. Then, summon a treant and don't send it to fight the wave. Instead, send it to drag the wave as close to the enemy base as possible. And now what? Do we TP here? Fuck no. They already have to go here to kill your tree. To maximize enemy stress, make them also have to TP somewhere else. Yeah, that is a much better place. Rinse and repeat this demonic behavior until eventually they give up. Here's another great clip of abusing creep mechanics to turn off backdoor protection. Instead of killing the wave, I dragged it here to the right. I fucked up and I missed a couple of creeps, but it's no problem because they die pretty quickly. Then, when my wave eventually hits their tower because I did this, that's when I run my treant in to damage their tower that now has no backdoor protection. This forces a guy to TP in immediately to save the tower, and I still get a bunch of free tower damage that I otherwise wouldn't have if I didn't drag the wave. This is the sort of evil behavior that eventually wears down the enemy's psyche, and that is what this hero is all about. Another devilish trick that you can use is using your treant to grab not one, but two waves. And you can chain spawn treants, grabbing the waves and combining them to form a giga wave. Here is where you press R on the other side of the map, because this fucking thing now hits every single unit. So you can wipe out a shitload of creeps at once with this method. And with the addition of this change and this talent, treant creep dragging is way easier. Part of the reason that your second item should be in Ags is so that your ult is on a lower cooldown so that you can do this more, but also so that you can contribute meaningfully to fights without even showing up to them. After Solar plus Ags, build drums. Then Vlad's to give your treants more damage, and some lifesteal to creep waves so you can stand like a peeping Tom in the trees and still push the waves. When your drums eventually runs out of charges, because let's be real, you should be spamming these every time you TP somewhere, then buy drum boots and spam those fuckers off cooldown. After this, AC and Octarine Core are both great. Both help you split push better, but AC is better against physical, and Octarine is better for teamfighting. The skill build is to go for 1 point in every spell, then max treant, then TP, going for a point in ult every time you can. As soon as you get this talent, do it. Then at 15, go for this, and then this, and then this. The summary of the game plan is very simple. Split push until the enemy team is running like a bunch of chickens with their heads cut off. Once they are properly mauling at your very existence, they'll split up. And here is where you can join your team to take favorable fights by throwing buffs on your carry. If fighting is ever going poorly, then just split push. The glorious thing about this hero is that if you're good, either you win, or you drag the game out for 60 minutes. In either case, it's a win to me. Okay, before we go, I want to do a quick lightning round where I talk about the most important tips and tricks that you need to know to abuse this hero. 1. Sprout can get you out of tricky situations. If you TP onto a cliff to place wards or spawn treants, because let's face it, these are great places to hide, you can get yourself off the cliff by targeting Sprout at the edge of the cliff, bumping you off. You can also use this tech to juke enemies around the map by pushing yourself over cliffs. This one I just showed you is actually very hard to pull off, but it can be made easier by hitting this camp then sprouting the creep because you are less likely to be pushed inside the sprout since the creep is taking up that space. Here's a clip from a 9k MMR ranked game where I did this using a lane creep to juke this bastard who was chasing me. Then we took a fight in our base and we actually won it because he wasn't there. 2. When you get 25, your treants gain 3 times HP, and for some reason that makes you gain 3 times damage from them. And that makes this innate give you 150 damage for a single treant. So this talent is beyond broken. 3. Place deep lane wards. Not only do these suckers see couriers ripe for the sniping, but they also see creep waves. That means that you can use ult to hit like 50 creeps at the same time. That is bang for your buck right there. 4. Steal wisdom runes. That's it, just steal wisdom runes. 5. Listen to evil villain music while you're playing. Let's not beat around the bush. You're the bad guy.
I am the one who knocks.
You are an agent of chaos pushing the universe towards entropy just a little bit more quickly. So, embrace it. Let's watch the world burn together.
Not our destiny.